So in this video, I want to talk to you about the idea of refactoring. We're going to look at some different examples. Here's my run game method, which we've developed for our alien invasion game. And I want you to see that right now, run game is doing multiple things. First thing it's doing is it's checking for a basic keyboard event. And then the next thing it's doing is it's doing drawing updates. And so from this one method, run game, we're right now having two different behaviors that it's managing. And so the idea is that we want to take those behaviors and we want to separate them into their own specific functions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the code here that's responsible for checking this event, and I'm going to create a method called check events. And so this is how I'm going to define it. Define underscore check events, takes in the self keyword, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut this code from the run game method and I'm going to paste it into check events. And now that I have this function up here, lines 26 through 30 defined, I'm now here on line 35 going to simply call that. So self dot check events. Now let's do the same thing with the drawing. So we're going to call this method update screen. Update screen. And we're going to take the code here that updates the screen or draws to the screen. We're going to cut it, and now we're going to paste it inside of this function. And now down here we simply say self.update screen. Now look at the run game method now as to what it used to be. It's far more readable. While true, check the events, update the screen. Check the events, update the screen. And so we have those behaviors inside their own specific function. And so this is like the concept here. This is the beginning of the concept of refactoring. Taking, if a function has multiple behaviors that can be broken up into their own separate functions. And that's the idea I want us to get a hold of today. So if I run this code, I still have everything working up to this point. So okay, now we're on pages 243 and 244, and let's look at our check events method here. We've got a block of code here that controls what happens when a key is down, whether we go right or left. And then we have another block of code which controls whether we go left or right based on whether the key is up. So in other words, if the key is up, we stop moving in that direction. If the key is down, then we begin moving in that direction. And so these are two separate behaviors. So this is another excellent case where we can do just a little bit of refactoring. And so that's exactly what's going to happen. We're going to create a function here called check key down events. It's going to take the self keyword and it's going to take an event. And then I'm going to take this code here that controls the key down event. And let's take this part right here. Let's cut it. Let's paste it into our function. And let's make sure everything's tabbed correctly here. So let's control that. There we go. Now right here, when the key is down, I'll just call the check key down events, and I'll pass in the event. So that part's now taken care of. Now let's take care of creating a function called check key up events. Again, takes a self keyword and it takes an event. So now let's take the code which controls key up, the part of key up. Let's cut it. Let's paste it in. Let's make sure everything's tabbed at the appropriate level. right, like so. And so now here, self.check key up events, and we pass in the event. So now our check events function is now even cleaner. It's easier to read, isn't it? If it's quit, then cleanly quit the program. If the key is down, then let's figure out what to do when the key is down. So it goes up here, it says, okay, is it the right key? Then go right. Is it the left key? Then go left. Well, if the key was released, if it's up now, then let's go to this method here, check key up events. So this is the idea of refactoring. If you have a function that has multiple behaviors, so long as those behaviors are not really meshed together, we separate those behaviors into their own separate functions. That's going to make our code cleaner. It will make it a little bit longer, yeah, but it will make it cleaner. It'll make it more easy to check for errors. So if I have an error somewhere in my key up events, so if I have an extra equal sign and I don't see that extra equal sign when I run the program, then I know that, hey, my key down is working, but my key up is not working. So now I know where to dive. I can dive right here into the key up events. And that's the idea of refactoring that I want you to get a hold of. God bless you, wherever you are today.